There's a war going on right now, but it's not out there in the world. It's inside you. And this invisible battle is determining whether you will succeed or fail, whether you will grow or merely survive. And most people don't even realize they're losing this war. The real battle for success doesn't happen in the market. It doesn't happen in the economy. It doesn't happen with the competition. It happens inside your mind. That's where belief meets resistance. That's where intention meets habit. That's where the line is drawn between who you are and who you can become. Most people think that failure results from a lack of opportunities, lack of money, lack of contacts, but that's rarely the case. Failure begins silently, in small thoughts, in the whisper that says, maybe tomorrow. And if you don't win that internal battle, nothing external will save you. It all begins when the same mind that dreams of success starts inventing excuses for delay. The same imagination that can project a better future can also build a prison of limitation. This is the hidden war, the internal war. And here's the truth that few understand. Every day, your mind runs two programs simultaneously, the builder and the saboteur. The voice that says, I can, and the one that says, what's the intention? And progress? Progress needs to be defended daily, because if you don't protect progress, the enemies advance. And you already know these enemies. They live in routine. They're reflected in small choices. They never knock loudly. They enter silently, dressed as a motive, as comfort, or as caution. And once they take root, they do their work slowly, invisibly, until one day you wake up and realize a month has passed, maybe a year, 5 years, and the dream continues exactly where it began. Understand this. Progress isn't stolen from you. It's given away to you, little by little, through distraction, through negligence, through yet another excuse. You don't lose progress overnight. You walk away from it. That's why awareness is the first weapon. You need to see the battle for what it is. It's not about luck versus misfortune. It's not about wealth versus poverty. It's discipline versus drift. Every day is a vote, for one side or the other. When someone says, I don't know what's holding me back, the answer is almost always invisible. It's not the market, it's not the boss, it's not the government, it's the pattern. The way the mind has been trained to retreat instead of advance, to seek comfort instead of confrontation. And here's the key. Nothing external can fix what's broken inside. Until the inside changes first, the outside will always follow. No one achieves progress by chance. Just as a garden doesn't grow through neglect. It is designed, cultivated, and protected. So the question becomes, who is winning the inner war? The disciplined mind or the drifting mind? The builder or the saboteur? To answer this, you need to know the 5 enemies of progress. And more importantly, you need to learn how to defeat them. The first enemy of success is excuses, the most elegant destroyer of progress ever invented. They don't shout, they reason. They make failure seem intelligent. Everyone who has fallen short of expectations has a story to tell. A perfectly reasonable story. Too cold, too late, too busy, too early, too much competition, too little support. But here's what excuses do. They comfort inaction. They let you rest on the pillow of justice instead of the foundation of accountability. Excuses are the language of retreat. They make you feel clever while stealing your future. And they wear many disguises. Sometimes they sound like logic. It's not the right time. Sometimes they sound like humility. I'm not ready yet. And sometimes they seem like justice. Others have more advantages. But the result is always the same. Nothing moves forward. Progress begins where excuses end. People stop explaining and start doing. Because excuses and progress can't live in the same house. One drives the other out. Ask anyone who has achieved something remarkable. They didn't avoid difficulties. They ran out of excuses. They replaced I can't with how can I? This simple shift in language reshapes the mind. It transforms limitations into problem solving. It forces creativity to enter where there once was fear. An excuse says, "It's beyond my control." A question says, "What can I do?" One closes the door, the other opens it. And here's the problem. Excuses create comfort faster than success ever could. They allow you to settle for a story that makes sense instead of an outcome that brings about change. The second enemy of success is neglect, the slowest and most silent destroyer of all. You only realize it's working after the damage is already done. A lost day doesn't seem like much. An ignored task seems harmless, but neglect accumulates faster than any effort. Success has a rhythm, and neglect disrupts it. It takes discipline to start, but it takes even more discipline to maintain. Most people fail not because they can't start, but because they can't continue. They let a small crack turn into a canyon. Neglect always begins in the smallest corner. The once green garden starts to turn brown because the watering can was left on the porch an extra morning. The perfectly functioning car starts to malfunction because the oil change was delayed. The once strong relationship begins to fade because the words "thank you" and "I love you" went unsaid for too long. It's a law of life. Everything that is neglected deteriorates. Health, wealth, relationships, mindset. None of them sustain themselves. The price of progress is maintenance. The rent for success is due every day, and it can't be paid in advance. The tragedy is that neglect seems harmless at first. You tell yourself, it was just a missed workout, a missed meeting, a postponed call. But neglect doesn't stop at one day. One day multiplies and becomes two. Two become a week becomes a habit. And the habit of neglect always ends in regret. It's easier to maintain the momentum than to rebuild it. The moment you stop caring about what matters, the decline begins. Slowly at first, then suddenly. The third enemy is doubt, the silent thief of destiny. It doesn't stop you with force, it stops you with hesitation. It whispers just the right amount of uncertainty to delay your action. And delay, over time, destroys progress. Everyone starts with a measure of belief. Then comes the moment of testing, the gap between effort and evidence. That's where doubt loves to dwell. When results take longer than expected, when the applause fades, when the reward seems distant, that's when doubt begins to take hold. It says that maybe it won't work for you, maybe you're not ready, maybe that dream was too big. And if you listen long enough, belief begins to wane, action slows, trust breaks down. But doubt is not a sign that something is wrong, it is a sign that something important is at stake. Every great undertaking encounters resistance, but progress belongs to those who act while uncertain, those who move even when they cannot yet prove it. Faith is not arrogance, it is preparation. It is the decision to continue building when the evidence has not yet arrived. A farmer plants seeds without seeing the harvest. That is faith. A builder lays the foundations long before the house is erected. That is faith. Progress is no different. People often say, "I'll believe it when I see it," but that's the language of spectators. Builders say, "I will see it because I believe in it." First comes belief, then proof. The mind must go before the body, or the body will never move. The cure for doubt is not perfect knowledge, it is disciplined action. Do what you can with what you know, and let the results be your teachers. The act of acting weakens the hold of doubt, because every small victory is proof that this belief was not unfounded. The fourth enemy of success is distraction. It robs greatness not through failure, but through fragmentation. It divides focus into many small parts so that no depth can grow. Today's world is built for interruptions. Every sound, every screen, every notification is a plea for your attention, and every interruption has a cost. Progress demands concentration, but distraction scatters the mind until energy is depleted. Most people don't lose because of a lack of skill, they lose because they can't stick with one thing long enough. They start something with fire, then they change, and then they roll, then they check, and they pause. And at the end of the day, the power of their intention has been diluted into noise. Distraction is subtle. It disguises itself as productivity. It says, just one more message, just a quick update, just a few minutes. But those minutes multiplied by days turn into stolen years. The enemy is not always laziness, it's distraction. A mind divided in 1,000 directions cannot master any. Progress demands the courage to say no to noise, trends, and invitations that do not serve the mission. Attention is the currency of success. Wherever it flows, results follow. There is a discipline in focusing. It's not about strength, but about clarity, knowing what matters most and protecting it as if your future depended on it, because it does. The greatest professionals in any field share one characteristic, a focus on purpose. While others pursue variety, they strive for mastery. They learn to say no, not because they're rude, but because they understand the value of attention. And now we come to the last enemy of success, comfort, the most seductive of all. It seems harmless, even deserved. It says you've earned the right to relax, to slow down. And in a short time, this comfort transforms into a cage, soft on the inside, unbreakable on the outside. Comfort convinces you that good enough is success. It whispers that growth can wait, that ambition can rest. But progress never exists where comfort reigns, because comfort and challenge cannot coexist for long. One always drives out the other. Every life reaches that silent turning point where comfort begins to seem reasonable. The climb seems steep, the goal seems distant, and comfort offers a shortcut. Stay here, it's safe. Fail safe, criticism-proof, free from discomfort, but also free from growth. The foundation of progress is struggle. Every form of advancement, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, requires some friction. Muscles only grow through resistance. Skills are only honed through practice. Character is only strengthened through challenges. The comfortable person begins to move. They lose the advantage, the hunger, the urgency. They may still seem busy, but the fire has already gone out. They traded pursuit for preservation, and preservation never generates progress. Comfort's greatest weapon is subtlety. It doesn't demand surrender, it suggests rest. It says you've earned the right to rest for now, and perhaps you have for today. But comfort never knows when to stop. What begins as rest becomes routine. What begins as balance becomes complacency. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of your labor. Rest is essential. Renewal is wise. But rest should serve the mission, not replace it. The goal of recovery is to return stronger, not weaker. So how do you defeat these 5 enemies? How do you win the inner war? The answer lies in 3 pillars: awareness, discipline, and structure. First, awareness. You can't fix what you don't see. The moment you identify an enemy, excuse, neglect, doubt, distraction, or comfort, you weaken it, because these enemies thrive in darkness. Once named, they lose their power.
Second, discipline. Conscience tells you what's wrong. Discipline solves that. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you want to or not. It's the daily vow for progress instead of drifting. A disciplined person may not always feel motivated, but they act anyway. And action over time creates belief, momentum, and results. But discipline must become a system, because willpower alone is fragile. Create routines that make success automatic and negligence difficult. Create an environment that rewards effort and punishes drift. If you want to wake up early, make it easy to start. If you want to stay focused, remove what competes for your attention. Systems do what motivation can't. Maintain consistency when enthusiasm fades. Third, structure. Progress is not the product of explosions, it is the result of design. Just as a builder follows a blueprint, progress follows structure. Decide what to measure and measure it often. Everything you track improves because attention fuels growth. The enemies of progress are patient. They wait for opportunities, so you need to be proactive. Every morning is a fresh start, a new vow for progress. Review your goals, reaffirm your mission. Ask yourself, what is most important today? And do that first, because drifting begins the moment you forget what matters. Protect your entrances. The mind is a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. Fill it with excellence, and excellence will become a habit. Fill it with noise, and noise will become normal. Awareness filters what enters, and discipline determines what remains. Surround yourself with responsibility. Drifting is easy, but with the right people, discipline becomes contagious. Choose those who challenge you, not those who comfort you. Comfort is cheap. Correction is valuable. Remember, progress is not perfection. It's movement. It's resistance faced and overcome. The goal is not to eliminate the struggle, but to overcome it. You don't eliminate enemies once and for all. You learn to be smarter than them, work harder than them, last longer than them. Every victory strengthens your defense. Every time you replace excuses with action, negligence with attention, doubt with faith, distraction with focus, and comfort with challenge, you strengthen your system. What was once effort becomes instinct. What was once struggle becomes the norm. So build your defense with intention. Wake up conscious. Work with structure. End each day with a review. Small corrections made daily prevent major repairs later. Progress is not accidental. It is protected. And when it is protected long enough, it becomes inevitable. That's the beauty of it. Once you build the defense, the enemies lose control. Excuses no longer convince you. Negligence seems unnatural. Doubt has no place. Distraction becomes noise in the distance. Comfort becomes reward, not refuge. From this point on, progress ceases to be fragile. It is fortified, and the internal war becomes a sustained victory. The war is happening now, inside you, and only you can decide who will win. So tell me in the comments, which of these 5 enemies have you identified in your life, and what will you do today to start defeating it? Subscribe to the channel for more content on success mindset and personal development. Until the next video,